Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions on all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures in order for us to live up to our bold slogan: support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we do write thought pieces every other Sunday. We actually just dropped a thought piece this past Sunday, so definitely be sure to check that out once you're done watching this segment. Also, for those of you who are out and about, take us with you while you're on the go. We're available on 6 different podcast platforms, and we'll provide you with the links in the description down below. Now, as is the convention, definitely be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you're aware of every time we post, and of course, if you like these discussions and you want to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to another episode here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And this week, our topic of discussion is going to be on mental health. Now, as the description suggests, we're going to be talking about the art of not being okay. And this is an art because I find that in the society that we live in now, like when we're not okay, we're quick to aggrandize that. We're quick to make it like a very big deal to not be okay. And not being okay for different periods in our life is normal. It's part of the lived experience. And I think that we need to stop allowing people to encroach on our space when it is the case that we're dealing with a situation, rightfully so, that makes it so that we're not feeling okay, we're not feeling our best, and it doesn't need to be a big deal. Now, this isn't me diminishing the fact that sometimes you're not okay and it is a big deal, but this is just talking about the regular highs and lows, ups and downs, challenges that life brings you, and with those challenges comes the sense of just not being okay, not feeling our best. That doesn't mean that I don't have the resolve, the resilience, the perseverance, or the grit to push through that period in my life. There are many periods that we've experienced or that I've experienced in my life where I've definitely not been okay, but I'm not worried about myself. I know that my not being okay is in a direct correlation with what it is that I'm experiencing, and I am either managing my way through it or developing the skills to push through it. And I think that it's very important that we give ourselves the space, recognizing that not feeling okay is not an emergency, not every time. Sometimes it's just this thing we call life. So I think that the reason why we put such a huge emphasis on, hey, I'm not okay, is because there's stigma around not being okay. And as much as there's lots of discussion and talk about, hey, it's okay to not be okay, but is it okay though? Is it okay to not be okay if the moment that I'm not feeling okay, you're trying to prescribe me a drug? Or the moment that I'm not feeling okay, you're trying to disorder me and put some sort of mental health label on me? Why isn't it the case that when we're not okay, the first reaction is just to ask, well, what's going on? Like recognizing that it's normative, it's normal to have moments in life to not be okay. And I think the fact that people are quick to rush to very extreme reactions, and I think putting a mental health label on someone is an extreme reaction. I think prescribing someone drugs is an extreme reaction when we first don't think about, well, what has this person gone through, or what is this person going through to make it so that they feel this way, and is that feeling in relation to what it is that they're experiencing, and how and why shouldn't I be confident that this person is not going to push through it? And the fact that we lack confidence in ourselves and in our peers to push through periods of not feeling okay is disconcerting, and it speaks to the real belief and sort of, I think, bias that we carry in our society about what it means to not be okay. And it means, let's put a label on this person and let's prescribe the medication rather than let's give them space to figure things out and to find their way back to okay. Like I mentioned in last week's videos, I'm going through a bit of an ordeal, and it's interesting because oftentimes when you talk about, hey, I'm going through, XYZ experience, people are like, oh, that's a really big deal. Like, maybe you should see a doctor. It's like, no, maybe I should try to figure out a way to push through this experience, figure out what skills I need to get through this experience. Like, why is it always something that you think needs to be medically treated? And I think that this assumption or this gut response and this reaction, this instinct is very misaligned. And I think that it's something that speaks to the brokenness of our mental health system. I think it speaks to the brokenness of the discourse and the narrative around mental health, because we talk about it being okay to not be okay, but we don't treat people like it's okay when they're not okay. And I think because of that, we need to be all the more vigilant and conscientious of A, who we say that we're not okay with, and B, our boundaries about what it is that we expect from those around us and what it is that we need from those around us when we're in periods where we're not okay. And I think this is very important because people can be very forceful about their opinions. They can be very forceful about what they feel the right and appropriate intervention should be. But if that doesn't align with how you feel you need to be treated, if that doesn't align with what you recognize you need in order to kind of push through that barrier, then you need to be able to set that boundary, put that boundary in place so that those people recognize that the only person who is in the driver's seat of the way you deal with difficult times is yourself. And that's not a seat you should give up without a healthy fight, especially when we're living in a society where the norm is to label people as mentally ill to then profit off that illness by pipelining them through a mental health care system that is built on profitability and not on, goodwill. So I think that it's very important to know thyself. And when I say, and I guess the last point that I want to make on this topic is, in order to be able to speak and to use your voice to support yourself, and in some cases defend yourself when you're dealing with a situation that makes it so that you're not okay, you need to know yourself. And that means that sometimes when we're in periods where we're not feeling okay, we need to get to know who we are when we're not okay. And I've talked about this before, like who we are when we're grieving. It's not the same person as who we are when we're not. And we need to get to know who we become when we're grieving, so that if it is the case that one day we're grieving and it's deeper than what we think that we can manage, we can be the ones to vocalize that, and we can be the ones to drive what support we need and how it is that we go about activating that support. But a lot of ourselves, we don't know who we are when we're going through difficult periods because we are quick to mask the symptomology of those difficult experiences. And I think that if we embrace who we are emotionally and give ourselves space to be emotional, we get to know who we are when we're experiencing very intense emotions, especially when we're experiencing intense emotions that make us feel discombobulated and that throw us off gear. And we are different in each of these emotional states, and we are worth getting to know in each of these different emotional states. We have a bird in the background, so if you hear him chirping, he's just happy. But I think that this is an important topic to cover, especially now, because, in life, myself included, we have periods where we're not the best, we're not feeling okay, but we're pushing through, and we know that we're going to get there. It's a bit of a journey, but we trust the process, we lean into the process. We've been there before, different scenario, but same sentiment, and we know we're going to push through again. So trust in your own resilience, trust in your sense of grit and your capacity to push forward. And don't let people drown out your voice. Be the one who drives your intervention if it is the case that you need one, if it is the case that you're not feeling okay. Be the one to dictate and to discuss to other people what it is that you need and the boundaries that you need established in the way that they support you from being not okay to okay. Just make sure that you're the one who kind of drives that conversation, because right now, those who are driving the conversations around not being okay, their actions are not in alignment with their words. We don't treat people like it's okay to not be okay. Not when we jump to such extreme interventions in each and every time, when we're jumping to label people in each and every time. That for me is not a response that tells me that we're actually in a society that embraces and that supports people who are in periods of difficulty. Supporting someone in a period of difficulty is listening, is being there for them the way that they need you to be there for them, and also allowing them some space to develop the skill set and the tools that they need to get through that situation and to get through different situations that will most definitely come up in the future where they're going to feel a little bit the same. So this is a quick video, but I think it was definitely needed because I think that someone needs to sort of raise the alarm about the disconnect between how we say it's okay to not be okay, but then the extreme reactions that are fairly averse and very hard to sort of reverse when it is the case that we think that someone's not okay. And I think that it's important that we all kind of develop that critical thinking lens for ourselves and for others as well, so that we're not quick to jump the gun and suggest something on someone who is vulnerable and maybe influenceable that is not in their best interest at all. So that was the point of this conversation. I hope that this speaks to you. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. I think that when it comes to the topic of not being okay, everyone has different perspectives and opinions on it, but we don't vocalize those enough. And I think that it's really important that in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience, in order to build and reinforce character, it means we push through some of those difficult periods in life and we embrace them as part of life. Life isn't just supposed to be, happy times, and I'm all about the good vibes. I'm a good vibes only kind of human, but I recognize that my life is enriched by both the yin and yang, the good and the not so good. And I would love to see more people embrace all of what life offers, recognizing that the highs and lows are both growth. I'm gonna stop here. I have more to say, but I guess I can layer that into different discussions on an alternate day. But I always love chatting with you. Definitely be sure to engage with this video. Definitely be sure to like, comment, and share this video. And of course, subscribe. So thank you for tuning in, and definitely until next time, we'll talk to you soon.